Today we're talking about respect, but not in the way you might think. We're not talking about politeness or a rule or just being nice. We're talking about respect as a fundamental human operating system. See, every single person, and that includes you, is walking around with a complex inner world, a nervous system, and a deep-seated need to feel like they matter. Respect is the code that protects that humanity, both inside ourselves and in our interactions with others. If you can grasp this concept, you'll understand the very foundation of leadership: empathy, conflict resolution, and true emotional maturity. Everything else in human relationships builds right on top of this. So, what is respect really? At its philosophical core, respect is the stance that every single person is a full human being, complete with an inner life, needs, limits, and dignity. Again, this includes you. This idea rests on three philosophical anchors. First, humanity, recognizing that every person has an inner world just as real and vivid as your own. Second, dignity, understanding that every person's worth is inherent and non-negotiable. And third, autonomy, accepting that every person has the right to their own thoughts, feelings, and choices. This is crucial. Respect is not the same as admiration. It's not agreement. It's not approval. And it is certainly not about liking someone. Respect is the discipline of treating another person's humanity as non-negotiable, period. Think of respect as the minimum standard for how we treat other humans. It's not a reward for good behavior. It's the baseline. Now, let's look at why we need it from a psychological perspective. Every human nervous system is constantly scanning its environment, asking three basic questions. Am I safe? Am I seen? And do I matter? When the answer to those questions feels like yes, our brains stay calm and regulated. Okay? We can think clearly, connect, and cooperate. But when the answer feels like no, our brain instantly shifts into threat mode. That's your fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response kicking in. Respect is the set of behaviors that sends a clear signal to another person's nervous system, telling it, you're safe with me. You're not invisible here. You matter enough for me to regulate my own emotions and behavior. This is precisely why disrespect escalates conflict so quickly. It's not just about ego. It's about biology. When someone feels disrespected, they aren't just being dramatic. Their nervous system is literally reacting to a perceived threat to their safety and significance. This brings us to one of the most important aspects of respect: self-respect. Self-respect is simply the internal version of the exact same principle. It's the practice of treating yourself like a full human with needs, limits, and dignity. It's recognizing that the human who deserves this treatment is you. Now, don't confuse self-respect with self-esteem. Self-esteem is how you feel about yourself, which can go up and down. Self-respect is how you treat yourself, which is a consistent practice. It shows up as accurate self-talk instead of beating yourself up. It's setting boundaries that protect your energy and your dignity. It's learning to regulate your emotions before you react impulsively. It's keeping the promises you make to yourself. It's choosing environments that don't force you to betray who you are. And it's allowing yourself to have needs without feeling shame. The core teaching moment here is this: self-respect is the daily practice of not abandoning yourself. So how do we actually practice this? It's not some vague feeling. It's a set of drillable, repeatable skills. First, use truthful internal language. Instead of saying I'm a failure, try I'm feeling overwhelmed right now. It's more accurate and less destructive. Second, set and enforce boundaries around your time, your energy, and your emotional bandwidth. Third, create a pause between a trigger and your reaction. That pause is where you find your power. Regulation is self-protection. Fourth, choose actions that align with your core values, not your fleeting impulses. Fifth, stop negotiating your own dignity just to avoid a moment of discomfort. And finally, give yourself permission to rest, to reset, and to recalibrate. Self-respect isn't a feeling you wait for. It's a behavior you practice, day in and day out. Once you build that internal foundation, respecting others becomes a natural external practice. It's the outward expression of emotional adulthood. It looks like curiosity before making an assumption. It looks like communicating with clarity, but without contempt. It's being mindful of your tone, your pace, your posture, so you don't unnecessarily put others into that threat mode. It means honoring someone else's boundaries, even when it's inconvenient for you. It's acknowledging their perspective as real and valid for them, even if you don't agree with it. And most importantly, it's about regulating your own reactions so you don't punish people with your emotional dysregulation. And here's a powerful truth. Respect is not symmetrical. You can and should respect someone even if they don't respect you back. Why? Because respect is about your own discipline, your own character, not their behavior. Respect is how you stay in your own dignity, even when someone else decides to leave theirs. So let's unify this into a simple framework. Think of it as the operating system for healthy human interaction. It has 4 foundations. 1. Humanity. Every person has a rich inner world. 2. Dignity. Every person's worth is non-negotiable. 3. Autonomy. Every person has a right to their own experience. And the 4th, regulation. Every person deserves interactions that don't trigger their threat response. That's it. That's the code. This is the foundation we'll be building on. In our next session, we're going to explore how leadership and empathy are born directly from this system. You'll see that leadership is simply respect plus responsibility, and empathy is respect plus curiosity. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a few questions to reflect on. What does respect actually feel like in your body? And what does disrespect feel like? Where in your life have you perhaps abandoned your own dignity just to keep the peace? What's one boundary you've been afraid to set? But no, you need to. And thinking about today, what's one small way you can practice self-respect, starting right now? Finally, what's one behavior from someone else that makes you feel instantly respected? Take some time with these. They can open the door to some powerful self-reflection. Remember this. Respect is not a personality trait. It's not a mood you happen to be in. And it's not a reward you give out for good behavior. Respect is a discipline. It is a conscious choice you make, over and over, about how you treat yourself and how you treat others. When you truly understand respect at both the philosophical and the psychological level, you stop seeing it as just being nice and start seeing it for what it truly is. It's the essential operating system for all healthy, meaningful human interaction. Thank you so much for joining me today. We'll build on this foundation next time. I am Jim Rutherford. This is the Want to Project.